Welcome to another video from ultimateged.com. In this video, we will be looking at some common GED math questions. Please, it's important you try all the questions. You can also get the full course with over 200 step-by-step videos covering all the topics you need to pass the GED math test at ultimateged.com. Okay, let's dive in. What value of x makes the function undefined? A. X equals 2. B. X equals -2. C. X equals 3. D. X equals -3. There are two conditions that makes a function undefined. 1. A function is undefined if the denominator of the fraction is 0. Example, 5/0 is undefined. 2. A function is undefined for the square root of a negative number. Example, the square root of -9 is undefined. For this question, the function will be undefined if the denominator is 0. So we want an x value that will make the denominator 0. You do not need to do any major calculation for this question. Which of the answer choices can replace x to get 0? We can see that if we replace the x in the function with -2, we will get -2 plus 2, which is 0. So the x value that makes this function undefined is -2. Therefore, the correct answer is B. Please check out ultimateged.com for the other form of undefined and more. A bar graph shows the percentage of votes received by 5 candidates in a student council election. If 500 students voted in the election, how many votes did candidate C receive? A. 100 votes. B. 125 votes. C. 150 votes. D. 175 votes. Questions that deals with graphs and percentages are common on the GED. To solve it, we need to first know the percentage of votes candidate C got. From the graph, we can see that candidate C got 25% of the vote. If the total votes cast is 500, then all we need to do to find candidate A's votes is to find 25% of 500. 25% is the same as 25/100. Of in mathematics means multiplication. So we have 25/100 times 500. We compute this on the calculator to get 125. So the correct answer is B, 125 votes. Please encourage us to post more videos by liking, sharing, and subscribing. We really appreciate it. A pie chart shows the budget allocation for a small project. If the total budget for the project is $10,000, what is the difference in allocation between materials and labor? A. $500. B. $1,000. C. $1,500. D. $2,000. This is a typical GED math pie chart question. There are two easy ways to solve it. I will solve it by first finding the difference in the percentages. Materials is 40% and labor is 30%. 40 minus 30 is 10. So the difference is 10%. Now, to find the amount. We do exactly the same thing we did in the previous question. The total is 10,000. We have 10% of 10,000. This 10/100 times 10,000. This will give us 1,000. So the correct answer is B, 1,000. Write 87,344,000 in scientific notation. To have a scientific notation, we want to move the decimal point behind the first non-zero digit. In this case, it will be behind the 8. When you have a whole number or a number without a decimal point, the decimal point is behind. We have our decimal point here. So we will move this point 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 points to the left to get it behind the 8. This is represented as 10 to the power 7. This is because we moved 7 times to the left. If we had moved to the right, it would have been -7. We write our 8.7344 times 10 to the power 7. Notice we left out the zeros in our answer. Writing it does not change the answer. This is our final answer. If Mary wants to make 36 cookies instead of 24 cookies according to her chocolate chip cookie recipe that requires 2 cups of flour and 1 cup of chocolate chips for the original yield, how much flour and how many cups of chocolate chips will she need for the increased yield? A. 3 cups of flour and 1.5 cups of chocolate chips. B. 2.5 cups of flour and 1.5 cups of chocolate chips. C. 3 cups of flour and 2 cups of chocolate chips. D. 2.5 cups of flour and 2 cups of chocolate chips. This is a typical GED math proportion question. Setting up proportions is one of the most important skills needed to pass the GED. Let's represent the cups of flour by X and the cups of chocolate chips by Y. For a proportion, there is a conversion factor that has been given. Here, for the flour, we know Mary used 2 cups to make 24 cookies. Also for the chocolate, we know she used 1 cup to make 24 cookies. Then we will set up the unknown. We know she wants to make 36 cookies, so we put it here. We don't know how many cups of flour she'll use, so we represent it by X. Once we have set up our proportion, we will cross multiply. 36 times 2 is 72. Then X times 24 is 24X. Finally, we will solve for the X. Divide both sides by 24. The 24 will cancel out. 72 divided by 24 is 3. So she will need 3 cups of flour. Now let's look at the cups of chocolate chips she'll need. The setup is exactly the same. We know she wants to make 36 cookies, so we will put it here. Under the cookies. We don't know how many cups of chocolate chips she needs. We will represent it by Y. Again, we will cross multiply. 36 times 1 is 36. Then Y times 24 is 24Y. We solve for Y, divide through by 24. The 24 will cancel out. 36 divided by 24 is 1.5. So she'll need 1.5 cups of chocolate chips. So the correct answer is A, 3 cups of flour and 1.5 cups of chocolate chips. A bag contains 8 red marbles, 6 blue marbles, and 4 green marbles. If a marble is chosen at random, what is the probability that it is blue? A. 1 over 4. B. 3 over 4. C. 2 over 9. D. 1 over 3. This is a very simple probability question. The probability of choosing a blue marble will be the number of blue marbles over the total number of marbles. Here, we have 6 blue marbles. We divide it by the total, which is 8 plus 6 plus 4. This will give us 18. We can reduce this. 6 divided by 6 is 1, and 18 divided by 6 is 3. So the probability of choosing a blue marble is 1 over 3. Therefore, the correct answer is D. The city park is planning to create a new flower bed with a shape like the diagram below. What will be the area of this new flower bed? A. 250 square feet. B. 300 square feet. C. 350 square feet. D. 400 square feet. To solve this question, the first thing you have to be able to do is identify the shape of the diagram. This is a trapezoid. The area of a trapezoid is equal to half the height, h, multiplied by the sum of the lengths of its 2 parallel bases, b1 and b2. The height is the perpendicular distance between the 2 bases. This formula will be given to you on the GED, so nothing to memorize. These are the parallel bases. Let's call this base 1 and this base 2. This is the height, h. Please be careful when identifying what values to use. That is where most students get answers wrong. Once you have identified your values, just plug them into the formula. From the order of operations, we will do the parenthesis first. Add 20 and 30 to get 50. Now we have half times 12 times 50. We multiply this to get 300. So the correct answer is B, 300 square feet. A pie chart shows the distribution of a student's study time by subject. If the student spends 40% of their time studying math, 30% studying science, 10% studying history, and the rest on other subjects, what percentage of their time is spent on other subjects? A, 5%, B, 10%, C, 15%, D, 20%. To solve this question, we need to calculate the percentage of time spent on other subjects. First, we add up the percentages spent on math, science, and history, which is 40% plus 30% plus 10%, resulting in 80%. Now, to find the percentage spent on other subjects, we subtract 80% from 100% because the total percentage of study time is 100%. The total percentage in a pie chart is always 100%. This is 20%. So, the answer is D, 20%. The student spends 20% of their time on other subjects. Given the function f of x equals 2x squared plus 3, find f of negative 2. A, negative 1. B, 7. C, 11. D, 19. To find f of negative 2, we need to substitute negative 2 for x in the function. Wherever you see x, just replace it with negative 2. So we have f of negative 2 equals 2 times negative 2 squared plus 3. Please be very careful when substituting a negative number. I always put it in parentheses. This is to make sure the negative is also squared. Now we will use the order of operation to get the answer. If you're not familiar with the order of operations, please check the links below this video and watch it. From the order of operations, we will have to do the negative 2 squared first. Negative 2 squared is 4. So we have f of negative 2 equals 2 times 4 plus 3. Next, from the order of operations, we will do the multiplication by 2. 2 times 4 is 8. So we have f of negative 2 equals 8 plus 3. Then finally we will add 8 to 3. This will give 11 as our answer. So the correct answer is C. Let's look at a common twist to this type of function question. Given the function f of x equals 2x squared plus 3, find x when f of x is 11. A, negative 1. B, 1. C, 2. D, 3. This is basically the same question. Here, you are rather given the f of x value. A lot of students assume this is the x value. So here, we will replace the f of x with 11. We have 11 equals 2x squared plus 3. Now we will solve for x. Please, if you're not familiar with solving equations, check the links in the description and watch the video. It's extremely important you master how to solve equations. We want to get the x by itself. We will first subtract 3 from both sides. The 3 will cancel out. 11 minus 3 is 8. So we have 8 equals 2x squared. Next, we will divide both sides by 2. The 2 will cancel out. 8 divided by 2 is 4. We have 4 equals x squared. Finally, to get the x by itself, we will find the square root of both sides. The squared root will cancel the squared. Square root of 4 is 2. In a lower level math class, you can say that x equals 2 and you are done. In actual sense, squared root of 4 can be negative 2 or 2. This is because negative 2 times negative 2 is 4. Also, 2 times 2 is 4. So x equals 2 or x equals negative 2 are possible answers. The correct answer is therefore C. What is the surface area of the given cone? A, 150.72 centimeters squared. B, 250.32 centimeters squared. C, 301.44 centimeters squared. D. 360.56 centimeters squared. To determine the total surface area of the cone, we'll use the formula pi times radius squared plus pi times radius times slant height. This formula will be given to you on the GED, so no need to memorize. From the figure, our radius is 6 centimeters and slant height is 10 centimeters. Please be careful about the slant height. You are sometimes given the vertical height, not the slant height. We plug these values into our formula. We calculate pi times 6 squared plus pi times 6 times 10. Pi is 3.14. 6 squared is 36, and 6 times 10 is 60. So we have 3.14 times 36 plus 3.14 times 60. We work this on the calculator to get 113.04 plus 188.4. Summing these up, the total surface area becomes 301.44 square centimeters. Hence, the correct answer is C, 301.44 square centimeters. The following graph represents the score range of students in a math class. How many students are in the class? A. 12, B. 14, C. 15, D. 17. Being able to read and interpret graphs is a must on the GED. Here, the x-axis represents the score range and the y-axis represents the number of students whose score are within that range. From the graph, you'll notice that there are 3 students whose score ranged from 61 to 70. From the graph, there are 5 students whose score ranged from 71 to 80. From the graph, there are 4 students whose score ranged from 81 to 90. From the graph, there are 2 students whose score ranged from 91 to 100. We add these to get the number of students. 3 plus 5 plus 4 plus 2 equals 14. Therefore, there are 14 students in the class. So the correct answer is B. The following graph represents the score range of students in a math class. What percentage of students failed the test if the passing score is 71? A. 21.43%. B. 30.51%. C. 18.77%. D. 15.05%. Please, it's very important you master how to find percentages, especially from graphs. From the graph, we can see that 3 students scored 61 to 70. All the other students scored 71 or above. Percentage of students that failed will be the number of students that failed, which is 3, over the total number of students, which is 14, like we saw in the previous question. This will be multiplied by 100 to get the percentage. Compute this on the calculator to get 21.43% failed. The correct answer is therefore A. With what you just learned, you should be able to answer questions like what percentage of students passed and what percentage of students scored 71 to 80. The following graph represents the score range of students in a math class. How many students scored exactly 95? A. 2, B. 14, C. 5, D. Not enough information to solve. This is a trick question. Most students assume that the answer is 2 students. Since the 95 is within this range 91 to 100. This is wrong. A range doesn't tell you the exact values within the range. So the 2 students who scored between 91 and 100 could have scored 92 and 92, or 95 and 98, or 100 and 100. There's not enough data or information to answer the question. Therefore, the correct answer is D. Please watch out for a little trick question like this. Pay extra attention to your graphs. If a line has a slope of -2/3, what is the slope of a line that is perpendicular to it? A. Negative 3 over 2. B. 2 over 3. C. Negative 2 over 3. D. 3 over 2. The correct answer is D. 3 over 2. When two lines are perpendicular to each other, their slopes are negative reciprocals of each other. Reciprocal here simply means flipping the numerator and denominator of the number. So 2 over 3 will be 3 over 2. The negative will simply change the sign. So here, since this is negative 2 over 3, we will have positive 3 over 2. We basically flipped the numbers and changed the sign. There's no need to write plus in front of a number, so the answer is D, 3 over 2. Please check out ultimateged.com for more twists to questions like this. What is the value of x in the diagram below? A. 60. B. 25. C. 75. D. 40. The work here is being able to identify that this is angles on a straight line. Angles on a straight line adds up to 180 degrees. Once you know that, you will just add everything and equate it to 180, then solve the resulting equation. So here, we will add 75 plus x plus 20 plus 25 equals 180. We can add the numbers 75 plus 20 plus 25 to get 120. So we have x plus 120 equals 180. We can subtract 120 from both sides. The 120 will cancel out. 180 minus 120 is 60. So x is 60. Therefore, the correct answer is A. 60. Samantha is painting a rectangular mural on a wall. The entire wall is 15 feet long and 10 feet wide. She decides to leave a 2-foot wide unpainted border all around the mural. What is the area of the painted portion of the mural? A. 60 square feet. B. 66 square feet. C. 110 square feet. D. 94 square feet. We looked at a similar question in our September GED 2023 video. That is question 19. We encourage you to watch that video. Find out the similarities and difference with this question and why we used slightly different approach. Okay, let's solve the question. For questions like this, it's a good practice to get a diagram so you can picture what is going on. Here is our wall. This is the painted portion of the mural. That's the area we are finding. We have been given the dimensions of the wall as 15 feet long and 10 feet wide. We are told she left 2 feet around the mural. Area of a rectangle is its length times width. This formula will be given to you on the GED. We know the length of the wall is 15 feet. 2 feet has been subtracted from the left and 2 feet has been subtracted from the right. So the length of the mural will be 15 minus 4, which is 11 feet. The width of the mural is similar. The width of the wall is 10 feet. We subtract 2 feet from the top and 2 feet from the bottom. So we have the width to be 10 minus 4, which is 6 feet. Now that we know the dimensions of the mural, we can find the area. We have area of the mural equals 11 times 6. This is 66. So the area of the painted portion of the mural is B, 66 square feet. What is the slope of the line represented by the equation y equals negative 3x plus 2? A. Negative 3. B. 3. C. Negative 2. D. 2. The correct answer is A. Negative 3. This is one of the easiest slope question you'll find on the GED. The equation given is in the slope-intercept form. This is y equals mx plus b. In this form, the coefficient of the x is your slope. Basically, the number with the x is your slope. Since we have negative 3x, negative 3 will be our slope. Let's look at a similar question to this, but one that will require a little more. What is the slope of the line represented by the equation 2y equals 3x plus 6? A. 2 over 3. B. Negative 2 over 3. C. 3 over 2. D. Negative 3 over 2. The correct answer is C, 3/2. This is similar to the previous question, but you have to be careful. This equation is not in the slope-intercept form. For it to be in the slope-intercept form, we want the y to be by itself. We can achieve that by dividing through by 2. The 2 will cancel out. 6/2 is 3. So we have y equals 3/2x plus 3. Now this is in the slope-intercept form of the equation of a line. Y equals mx plus b. We said in this form, the number with the x is our slope. So our slope is 3/2. Which of the graphs is a possible representation of the function y equals negative 3x plus 4? Here, there are no values on the graphs, so nothing to calculate. Option A and B are obviously wrong answers because they are parabolas or the graph of a quadratic function. For it to be option A or option B, the function must have x exponent 2. Both option C and option D are linear function. The slope of C is going up, so it's a positive slope. The slope of D is going down, so it's a negative slope. Now looking at the function, we see that it's in the form y equals mx plus b. We said in this form the m, or what is with the x, is the slope. Here the slope is negative 3. Since the slope is negative, the answer will be choice D. A student's average score on 4 tests is 85. What does the student need to score on the 5th test to raise their average to 90? A. 80. B. 90. C. 100. D. 110. This is a typical average or mean question. The average score is the total score over the number of tests taken. For the 4 test, we have been given the average as 85. The number of tests taken is 4. We can find the total score. Multiply both sides by 4. The 4 will cancel out. 4 times 85 is 340. So the total score for the 4 tests is 340. Average of the 5 tests is total scores of all 5 tests divided by the number of tests taken. We know the total for 4 of the test, which is 340. Let's represent the score for the 5th test by x. So the average of the tests, which has been given as 90, will be equal to the sum of the 4 tests, which is 340, plus the 5th test, which is x, divided by the number of tests taken, which we know is 5. Now we solve for x to know the score of the 5th test. Multiply both sides by the denominator, which is 5. 5 will cancel 5, leaving 340 plus x. When we multiply 90 by 5, we will get 450. To find x, we need to subtract 340 from both sides. When we subtract 340 from 340 plus x, negative 340 will cancel 340, leaving x. Again, when we subtract 340 from 450, we will get 110. Therefore, the student need to score 110 in the 5th test to raise the average to 90. So the correct answer is D. A line M passes through the point -2, 4 and has a slope of -2. Which of the following points also lies on the line M? A. -4, 6. B. -1, 2. C. 0, 2. D. 3, -2. Slope questions are also very common on the GED. We have a video on slopes. You can check it for more. For this question, we have been given a point and a slope. So we will start with the point-slope formula, which will be given to you on the GED. Y minus y1 equals m, in parenthesis, x minus x1. Our work is to change it to the slope-intercept form so that we can input the values in the choices. x1 and y1 are the values of the point you have been given, and m is the slope. We put these values into the equation. We have y minus 4 equals -2 in parentheses, x minus -2. Minus -2 can simply be written as +2. We expand. Negative 2 times x is negative 2x. Negative 2 times 2 is negative 4. So we have y minus 4 equals negative 2x minus 4. We want the y to be on one side of the equation. We will add 4 to both sides. The 4 will cancel out. So we have y equals negative 2x. Now that we have the equation in the slope-intercept form, we can input our x values from the option and check if we will get our y value. Let's start with option A. The x value is negative 4 and the y value is 6. We have y equals negative 2 times negative 4. Negative 2 times negative 4 is 8. It is not 6, so choice A is wrong. Let's check choice B. We input our x value. We have y equals negative 2 times negative 1. Negative 2 times negative 1 is 2. This is the expected y value, so option B is the correct answer. Question 13. What function represents the information in the table? A. F of x equals 2x plus 1. B. F of x equals x minus 3. C. F of x equals x plus 3. D. F of x equals 3x minus 3. Here, the best way is to solve it from the answers. We input the x values into the various functions and see if we will get our f of x values. For teaching purpose, we are going through everything. You don't have to on the test. You can accurately eyeball and eliminate obvious wrong choices. Since it's easy to work with 0, I'll try that first so I can narrow the possible answers. Replace x with 0 for choice A. 2 times 0 plus 1 equals 1. It was supposed to be negative 3, so choice A is definitely wrong. Replace x in choice B with 0. 0 minus 3 equals negative 3, so choice B is a possible answer. Now replace x with 1 in choice B to confirm. 1 minus 3 equals negative 2. It was supposed to be 0, so choice B is wrong. Replace x in choice C with 0. 0 plus 3 equals 3. It was supposed to be negative 3, so choice C is wrong. So since choice A to C are wrong, it means choice D will be the answer. Let's confirm. Let's replace x with 0. We have 3 times 0 minus 3 equals negative 3 as expected. We try 1. We have 3 times 1 minus 3 equals 0 as expected. Then we try 2. We have 3 times 2 minus 3 equals 3 as expected. So D is definitely the answer. What is the slope of the line below? A. 1. B. Negative 1. C. Negative 2. D. 2. The correct answer is B. Negative 1. The slope of a line is the change in y over the change in x. We know that the change in y simply means how many points you are going up or down. If you are going up, then you have a positive change. If you are going down, then you have a negative change. The change in x simply means how many points you are going to the right or left. If you are going to the right, then you have a positive change. If you are going to the left, then you have a negative change. Let's look at our question. Our first step will be to choose any 2 points on the line. I am choosing these 2 points. Let's call it A and B. You can choose any 2 points on the line. However, it is important to choose points that will make your work easier. Choose points whose x and y values can be easily determined. Normally, points at the corners are best. Now to find the slope, all we are doing is moving from one point of the line to the other on the slope triangle. Let's move from B to A. We moved down 2 points. Notice moving down is negative. So we have negative 2 here. Then we will move to the right 2 points to get to A. Notice that moving to the right is positive. We have 2 here. Negative 2 over positive 2 is negative 1. So our slope is negative 1. Notice that our first movement is always change in y, that is moving up or down, then our second movement is change in x. That is moving left or right. There are other ways we could have moved to get the same results. Check our other GED videos for more. In a basketball practice session, two players, player X and player Y, were practicing free throws. Player X attempted 60 free throws and successfully made 33 of them. Player Y attempted 30 free throws and made 18. Based on their shooting percentages, who is the more accurate free throw shooter? A. Player X. B. Player Y. C. Both have the same shooting percentage. D. Cannot be determined. Comparison questions are common on the GED Math. Here, you've been told to compare based on their shooting percentage. To find the shooting percentage, we have to divide the number of successful shots by the total number of attempts and multiply it by 100. From the question, player X has attempted a total of 60 free throws. Out of these, player X has successfully made 33 shots. To calculate player X shooting percentage, divide the number of successful shots, 33, by the total number of attempts, 60. Then multiply by 100. We do this on the calculator to get 55%. So player X shooting percentage is 55%. From the question, player Y has attempted a total of 30 free throws. Out of these, player Y has successfully made 18 shots. To calculate player Y's shooting percentage, divide the number of successful shots, 18, by the total number of attempts, 30. Then multiply by 100. We do this on the calculator to get 60%. So player Y's shooting percentage is 60%. Based on the calculated shooting percentages, player Y is the more accurate free throw shooter. The correct answer is therefore B, player Y. A rectangular field is to be fenced. The length of the field is twice its width. If the width of the field is represented as S meters, what expression represents the total amount of fencing needed to enclose the entire field? A. 2S plus 4. B. 6S. C. 6S plus 2. D. 4S plus 2. Questions in which the answer is an expression is also common on the GED. You have to be familiar with geometry word problems that requires you to find the area or perimeter. Here, we are talking about fencing, so the question is about perimeter. If the question was, how much grass will cover the field, we will be looking at the area. The formula for perimeter will be given to you on the GED. This is twice the length plus twice the width. From the question, we are told that the width is S, so we can replace the width with S. From the question, we are told that the length of the field is twice its width. So length equals 2 times width. But we know that the width is S, so this will be length equals 2S. We put this into the perimeter formula. We have 2 times 2S, plus 2 times S. 2 times 2S is 4S. So we have 4S plus 2S. This will give us 6S. Therefore, the expression that represents the total amount of fencing needed to enclose the field is 6S. So the correct answer is B. A spinner is divided into 8 equal sections, numbered from 1 through 8. If the spinner is spun, what is the probability of it landing on an even number? A. 1 over 4. B. 1 over 2. C. 3 over 4. D. 1 over 8. To pass the GED, you must be familiar with solving probability questions. To find the probability of landing on an even number, we need to count how many even numbers there are on the spinner, and then divide that by the total number of sections on the spinner. We are told the spinner has 8 sections numbered 1 to 8. Even numbers are simply multiples of 2. The even numbers between 1 and 8 are 2, 4, 6, and 8. So, there are 4 even numbers. Therefore, the probability of landing on an even number is the number of even sections, 4, divided by the total number of sections, 8. We can simplify the fraction. Reduce by 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1. 8 divided by 4 is 2. The probability of the spinner landing on an even number is 1 over 2. So the correct answer is B, 1 over 2. A cylindrical tank has a height of 10 meters and a diameter of 6 meters. The tank is filled with water up to a height of 8 meters. What is the volume of the water in the tank? A. 150.72 cubic meters. B. 226.08 cubic meters. C. 282.60 cubic meters. D. 339.12 cubic meters. Let's have a pictorial representation of the information given. Taking this as our cylinder. The height given is 10 meters and the diameter is 6 meters. The water is only filled to 8 meters of the height of the cylindrical tank. Note that liquids take the shape of the container in which they fill. So the diameter of the water will be the same as that of the cylindrical tank, which is 6 meters. The formula for finding the volume of the water is pi r squared h. Pi has been given to us. It is 3.14. We know the height as 8 meters. We don't know the radius. However, we have been given the diameter of the cylinder as 6 meters. Radius is diameter divided by 2, so the radius is 6 over 2, which is 3. Substituting the values, we have 3.14 times 3 squared times 8. 3 squared is 3 times 3, which is 9. This gives us 3.14 times 9 times 8. Now to get the volume of the water, we multiply 3.14 by 9 and by 8. And this gives us 226.08 meter cube as the volume of the water. So the correct answer is B, 226.08 cubic meters. Simplify the absolute value of negative 20 plus 8. A. 8. B. 12. C. 20. D. 28. Okay, simplify the absolute value of the expression negative 20 plus 8. First, evaluate the expression inside the absolute value. Negative 20 plus 8 equals negative 12. Now take the absolute value of negative 12. The absolute value of both a negative number or positive number is positive. The absolute value of negative 12 is therefore 12. Hence, the correct answer is option B, 12. What inequality is represented by the number line? A. Negative 4 is less than or equal to x, which is less than or equal to 3. B. Negative 4 is greater than x, which is greater than 3. C. Negative 4 is less than x, which is less than 3. D. Negative 4 is greater than or equal to x, which is greater than or equal to 3. There are 3 things we are looking at here. The first is the endpoints. Here, we have negative 4 and 3. We can see that all the answer choice have negative 4 and 3, so we cannot eliminate any of the choices. Next, we look at if the endpoint is shaded or not shaded. If it is shaded, then the inequality must have an equal sign. If it is not shaded, then the inequality does not have an equal sign. Both endpoints are not shaded, so we can eliminate choice A and choice D. They have equal sign. Finally, we pick a number to represent our x. The number must fall on the line we are writing the inequality for. I will use 1. You can use any of these numbers. Check which answer choice will be true. For choice B, we have negative 4 is greater than 1, which is greater than 3. This statement is not true. Negative 4 is not greater than 1, and 1 is not greater than 3. This leaves option C as the answer. We can verify. We are still using 1 for x. Negative 4 is less than 1, which is less than 3. This statement is true. So we confirmed that C is the answer. Jenny is saving money for a new bike. She already has $50 and plans to save $10 each week. Write an equation that represents the total amount of money M that Jenny will have after X weeks. A. M equals 50x plus 10. B. M equals 10x plus 50. C. M equals 50x minus 10. D. M equals 10x minus 50. This is a two-step equation that is very common on the GED. We cover it extensively on our GED Math course. Please check it out at ultimateged.com to learn all the twists to two-step equations, word problems, and much more. For this question, there are 3 parts. The total. Here, we have been told it is m. So we have m equals. Next, we have the recurring. This is the value that keeps repeating. This is the value with the x. We have $10 each week, so this will be 10x. Then finally, we have our constant. Here, it is $50. Since she has the $50, we will have plus 50. Therefore, option B is the answer. M equals 10x plus 50. What is the y-intercept of the graph? A. 1. B. -1. C. -2. D. 2. The correct answer is D. 2. The y-intercept is the point where the line meets the y-axis. This is our y-axis. The line meets the y-axis at this point. The value here is 2, therefore the y-intercept is 2. You could have been asked to find the x-intercept. This is simply the point the line meets the x-axis, so this will be that point. Therefore, the x-intercept is 1. Find the slope of the line passing through the points 2, 4, and 6, 5. A. 1 over 4. B. 1 over 2. C. 1. D. 2. The correct answer is A. 1 over 4. To find the slope of a line given 2 points, we will use the slope formula. M equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Formulas are given on the GED, so don't worry too much about it. Please note that you can call any of the point 1 or 2. I'm choosing this as 1 and this as 2. We know that when you have a point, the first value is your x, and the second value is your y. Since we are calling this point 1, we will have x1, y1 here. Same thing for this. Since we are calling this our point 2, we can call this x2, y2. We just put the values into the formula. We have 5, which is y2, minus 4, which is y1, divided by 6, which is x2, minus 2, which is x1. We simplify. 5 minus 4 is 1, over 6 minus 2, which is 4. So the slope is 1 over 4. On a coordinate plane, plot the following 4 points. A. -4, -3. B. -4, 2. C. 5, 2. And D. 5, -3. After plotting these points, connect them in the order A to B, B to C, C to D, and D to A, to form a figure. What is the figure formed? To answer this question, you have to know how to plot points on the coordinate plane and also identify shapes. Let's start by plotting our points. We know that on a point notation, the first value is your x value, and the second value is your y value. So for A, -4, -3, the x value is -4, and the y value is -3. So this is our point. For B, -4, 2, the x value is -4, and the y value is 2. So this is our point. For C, 5, 2, the x value is 5 and the y value is 2. So this is our point. And for D, 5, -3, the x value is 5 and the y value is -3. So this is our point. We are told to connect the points in the order A to B, B to C, C to D, and D to A. After connecting the points, we will notice that opposite sides are parallel and equal, and the angles are at 90 degrees. So this is a rectangle. A line graph shows the sales of a product over 5 days. On day 1, the sales were 40 units, and they increased by 10 units each day. What were the total sales for the 5-day period? To know the sales made for all the 5 days, first, we have to know the sales units for each of the days. And after that, we add all the sales units. Since the number of days were 5, number from 1 to 5 to represent the days. Now with the sales units, we are given that, on day 1, the sales were 40. But from day 2 to 5, the sales units increased by 10 units each day. So for day 2, add 10 to the sales unit of day 1, which is 40 plus 10, and that will be 50. The same way, on day 3 too, the sales increased by 10 units. So add 10 to the second day's sales, which is 50 plus 10 equals 60. Likewise, add 10 to the 60 units for day 4, which is 60 plus 10 equals 70. Lastly, also increase the sales unit for day 4 by 10. That's 70 plus 10 equals 80. Now since we have the sales units for each day, put all the sales units together to get the total, which is 40 plus 50 plus 60 plus 70 plus 80, and that equals 300 units. Hence, the total sales units for the 5 days period is 300 units. We will end this video here. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to get the full course at ultimateged.com.